Once you have got up to speed with the literature, you are then faced with the interesting challenge of keeping up with the literature. And this is not always easy because there's a lot of stuff published and you may have limited time. So I'm going to go through a few tips here of how to keep up with the literature. One way you could do that is essentially by following journals. So here I've got a screenshot from the journal Vision Research, and what you can see here is that they offer an RSS feed. So this is just a way you would have an RSS reader and you essentially subscribe to updates. And so if you have an RSS reader, every time a journal or any kind of information source you are following, anytime they come up with new information, that would then appear in your RSS reader. I think these were very popular a few years ago, but they have perhaps fallen out of favour in recent times. I think that's a bit of a shame. But as well as RSS feeds, you can also actually just get email alerts. So below where that arrow is pointing, you can see it says alert me about new articles. And so that way you would get monthly emails in your inbox about the papers that have been published in a journal. Now, of course, each journal will have a different type of website, so you might have to kind of hunt for where the information is. This is just another example, Physiology and Behaviour, where you can either, again, sign up to their RSS feed or you can get email alerts. So that's a good way, of following journals. But sometimes you want to be a little bit more specific about that. Sometimes you might actually want to follow topics. And so if we go back to Google Scholar and do a search for this example, we've got discounting and obesity. What's shown here is there are many search results. This just shows a few. Now, on the figure here, you can see the arrow pointing towards this create alert. So I think this is actually a really nice feature of Google Scholar. So basically, anytime new papers are published which return in this search, whatever search you happen to have put, you will get an email saying, here are all the new papers that conform to your search. So this can be really, really useful. I would warn though, you probably don't want to do this with a very general search. So if you just put in a couple of keywords, you're going to get a lot of responses here. So in general, I think if you are going to set up topic alerts, I would try to be quite specific about your search term, making use of search phrases with the quotes, but also sensible use of kind of and or, this kind of thing. Now, as well as focusing on following journals and following topics, you might actually instead or additionally want to follow people. And so if you go to Google Scholar, or whenever you see a paper, it will list the authors. If they have a Google Scholar page, which hopefully lots of people do have by now, you can see that when you find their main page, Google Scholar gives you this follow icon, and so you can click to be alerted about whenever this person publishes a new paper. So personally, I make quite a lot of use of author level alerts. For me, I do not follow what particular journals do, because the variation in the papers that they publish are so broad. Of course, many of the papers are going to be interesting, but the problem is I don't have enough time to kind of wade through those. And so instead,
following individual people who tend, of course, to publish on, one or a few topics, that can be a much more, a higher signal to noise ratio thing. So I hope that's been an interesting overview of different ways to keep up with the literature once you've got up to speed.